Is it rolling? Yep, okay. Hi, hello, I'm Kay and welcome to my booktube channel. Today, let us talk about the books that I read in August. August was not a very fun month for me. It was very stressful. I had finals, I was supposed to move houses, and a lot of stuff going on at the same time. Needless to say, my reading wasn't my priority when I was stuck in so many other things, and hence that resulted in me reading quite a less number of books than I would have wanted to. I read a total of 8 books in August, and while that seems like a decent enough number, a lot of them were graphic novels, which I tend to finish pretty quickly. All of them were like within the range of around 300 to 350 pages, which is not a long book in general. Anyways, but I thought I'd share my thoughts on the books that I read for August, and perhaps at the end talk about a few books that I'm going to read for September. The first book that I read for August was Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and it follows shadow hunters in more or less the present day world, and it follows our two main characters, Emma and Julian, who are paired with Ty. There's a lot of mystery and magic going on, which is more of the crux of the story, but I feel like as with everything, the romance, as much as it's not the main genre of the book, really captured me, and that's like the one thing that I was completely rooting on for the book. Apart from that, can we talk about the side characters? They're so great. I adore Christina. Like, she's perfect. Ty? I love Ty. Yes, I adore him. All of the Blackthorn siblings are amazing, and I would love to be friends with absolutely all of them, so they're so cool. I also really liked the representation of mental illness that came with this book, with Ty being on the autism spectrum and Uncle, I can't remember his name, why am I like this, Arthur. There was a lot of subtle representation in this book where it normalized the representation, which I really like in books, instead of like making it a priority, unless the book obviously is a contemporary following this specific person. I like it when it's normalized, and Claire did a really good job of doing that. And the story was amazing, the characters were amazing, the setting was amazing, the resolution in itself was amazing. I enjoyed this book a lot. I did feel like it was too long. Do you see this? This is like 600 pages. But yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. The next books that I read were 2 volumes of Saga. If you guys don't know what Saga is, it is an adult science fiction graphic novel series about 2 different species of people who have been at war for years, but a soldier from one of the planets falls in love with a soldier from the other, and they run away and they have a child, and now everybody's basically trying to hunt them down. It's cool, it's fun. I've never seen something like that before. I enjoyed them a lot. I gave both of them 4 stars, and it was so well thought out, and it was so creative, and it was a delight to read. The graphics, A+. I absolutely adored it, and I can't wait to read further. The next book that I read was Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Can we take a moment for my sanity, because this book, I am a very distractible reader, which means like I'm a fast reader, but I do take a lot of like breaks. I do not read in a flow unless I am really into a book. I read this beauty in a consistent 3 hours. I just sat down and I got up again after I'd finished reading it. It was so good, guys. Oh my god. Objectively, I would say this was a 4-star, which is what I gave it to on Goodreads. There were a few plot holes, but honestly, all of the characters and the story just kind of overlooks every flaw that I can find in this book. each one of the characters in this book is relatable to me in some way or the other. They were so real. Like, these characters came off the page. It was so hard to think that they were not real people, and they had their own voices, their own thoughts, their own situations, and all of it was so well handled. And can we talk about the representation in this book? Oh my god! POCs, LGBTQ plus representation. We have an ace main character. I was very happy with all of the representation that Oseman puts in all of her books. She's like known for it, and it was very lovely to read in this as well. One of the best things that she does is she normalizes this representation. Characters slowly grow into themselves, and it's not shown as something that is different, but they are a part of the society and they're humans, and I adore that about her stories. The way she writes is also so fluid. I just sat down and read the whole thing in one sitting, and it flowed so beautifully, and this book just makes me happy. I'm gonna recommend it to absolutely anybody who asks me for any book recommendation. It's great. Go read it. You will not regret it. I was a little bit on the contemporary roll after Radio Silence, and I just wanted to read another cutesy contemporary because, as I said, August was a really hard month for me, and I just wanted to read cute and heartwarming stuff instead of, you know, darker stuff, and I leaned a lot towards contemporary this month. So the next book that I read, again, I don't have a physical copy of, I read an ebook version of this, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This book was so cute and so adorable, and just, it tickled every perfect spot that I wanted tickled in a book. It was sort of enemies to lovers. There wasn't a lot of the enemy phase. They turned into friends pretty quickly and pretty early on, but so it still had the enemies to lovers phase. Enemies to friends to lovers. They were friends for a long time, and I adored their friendship. Also, president's son in the US and a prince in England. So much representation, so many cute scenes. They were adorable, okay? I love these two so much. Such great friend groups. I absolutely adored every single side character in this book. Wow, I can't find thoughts. It was just a great book. Go read it. It's as simple. Love the writing, love the characters, love the story, love the side characters. I also love that each one of the younger characters had a certain ambition that they wanted to fulfill. They were actually making good use of their time, and what they were good at was actually used in this novel. And it wasn't just a plot device, but the fact that our characters were so interested in a certain subject really was brought out into the novel, and I feel like that is not usually something that's very specifically shown in a lot of contemporaries, so I was really glad to see that as well. In general, it was a very cute and very wonderful read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I'm definitely excited to read her new book. The next book that I read was The Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I didn't really like it all that much. It wasn't a bad book. It just felt sort of pointless, the whole journey that happened. I'm just like, why are they doing this again? Like, there's no specific goal in mind. The characters kept changing their minds too often. So it was sort of confusing for me. It was very insta-lovey. As much as I loved both the characters and we finally had a sensible female lead, it was very refreshing to see her as a actual strong female lead without being like a grade A witch. The main male character was also a lot of fun. He was really refreshing, but the book itself was like 300 pages. They went from like not liking each other to liking each other in like 10 seconds, and I'm like, wait, what's happening? And now they're suddenly fighting for each other, and I'm just like, The resolution of this book and how all of this happened, kind of just fell flat for me. So it was gorgeous writing and some great characters. This book just had so much potential, but it could not live up to it. Perhaps it could have benefited by being longer so that it would, like, the characters would have some time to develop, versus I'm glad that it was shorter because there wasn't a lot of plot, and I feel like I would have gotten bored if it was longer and DNF'd it probably. So I'm kind of stuck in between. As I said, this book had a lot of potential, but it just did not live up to it. The next book that I read was the audiobook version of The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. And don't come at me. I know I keep saying I'm a voracious reader. I've been reading since I was 5 years old, and you're gonna be like, wait, so you haven't read Hunger Games? I'm sorry. I tried reading it first when I was 12, I think. I DNF'd at chapter 2. I tried again when I was 15. I DNF'd at chapter 2. And the problem was probably more personal. I just could not vibe with Suzanne Collins' writing style, and so I just DNF'd it 2 times. And I picked it up again right now because my younger sister started reading it and she wanted me to read with her, so we were buddy reading. I decided I would listen to the audiobook at 2x speed, and it helped immensely, and by the time I crossed chapter 2, I was actually invested. Things I liked about the book: Cinna, Rue, Peta, and Katniss whenever she actually had character and she wasn't being a piece of cardboard. By the time that I was around like 2/3 of the way through the book, I was heading into solid 3.5 star territory. I was enjoying myself a lot. And then the last part happened. I don't want to go into spoilers here, but I would definitely say read my Goodreads review. It's like 1,000-word review talking about both everything that I liked in the Hunger Games and everything that I didn't. It goes into like why I was so disappointed by the ending and why I dropped it down to 2.5 stars. All I would say is once you build up a certain way of things, because Collins did some great world building and rule building for her world, and then at the end she just did not stay consistent with the rules that she had made up herself, and it was kind of disappointing for me. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree, which is fine too. You're entitled to your own opinion, but that's how I felt, and that's why the ending was kind of disappointing for me. The last book that I read in the month of August was Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. This is another graphic novel. It's written by Mariko Tamaki, and the art in it is done by Rosemary Valero-O'Connell. This book is very popular in the Bookstagram community. Unfortunately, I did not see the hype. It was a good read. I'm not saying it was a bad read. What I felt like while reading was the scenes cut off so early that even before I could get into a scene, it was over. And so I couldn't really care enough about the characters and the setting, and it just moved forward. So it just was very choppy to me. It had everything it needed to be a great book, but it was just really choppy and jumping around for me to pay attention to this book. It was just a jumbled mess of stuff that happened, and yeah, I don't know. It was an okay read. I would recommend it if you like beautiful art, because look, I could open any page and it's gonna look so pretty. I would love to have like art from this book put up on my walls. It's so pretty. But in terms of the story, I feel like it just did not hit the mark. But it was definitely not a bad story, and if you're looking for a soft read that talks about toxic relationships and friendships and a lot of representation, especially of the LGBTQ community, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It just wasn't the book for me. So that's it for the books that I read in the month of August. As I said, August wasn't like the most productive month I had in terms of reading, just because I had so many other things to do, and even if I didn't have something to do, there was so much anxiety that I had going that I couldn't bring myself to read books. And yeah. Oh yeah, I said I would talk about a few books that I would be reading in September. I'm currently reading Eliza and Her Monsters. I'm almost done. I'm at the last 50 pages. I really enjoyed this book, but you will see a review probably at the end of September. I am also going to be reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo for the late night book club. I'm very excited to read it. I was surprised my library managed to get it for me on like the 1st of September. I was so surprised because I thought I wasn't gonna get it until like November. I also am gonna finish the Dark Artifices trilogy this month, and I actually have like 12 other library board books, but I'm not like claiming anything right now because I don't know how well I'm gonna do. So these are the ones that I'm definitely reading. So the 2 books of the Dark Artifices, Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo, and I'm gonna finish Eliza and the Monsters in like the next half an hour. And we'll see after that where this month takes me. I hope you liked this video. Leave me a comment and tell me what you'd like to see from this channel. And I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying happy, and I hope you're reading a lot of books, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.